Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I'm Kelly Stewart, at Kelly in Vegas on Twitter, and we are previewing the top 25 today in college football. Off to number 10, Notre Dame. To the right of me, Mr. Teddy Covers, at Teddy_Covers. Mr. Ralph Michaels, at Cal Sports LV.
Look at you looking down at Teddy.
Yeah, I know,
How'd I get you?
Teddy,
Did you do my seat? Did you do my seat before we got on? This paybacks, that's brutal.
You guys are bored. The little entertainment here at the WagerTalk
We're never bored talking college football. That I can tell you.
This is very true. All right, so we're going to hit on the Fighting Irish. This is an Irish team where we know the fan base is huge. We know that they're going to get money bet on them just because they're the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I'll start with you, Teddy. Tell me what your thoughts are on this team, and then Ralph, maybe give me a couple spots where maybe this might be a money maker.
I mean, Irish now have 3 10-plus win seasons the last 4 years. They made the playoffs last year. They're at that level. And Brian Kelly is a coach who, I'm an I told you so guy with Brian Kelly, but I've been on him since Central Michigan, through Cincinnati, and in Notre Dame. He's done obviously fairly well. But with that 12-1 mark last year, 6-6-1 ATS, outright upsets for the Irish last year. Well, they beat Michigan week 1, and if you'd aligned that game week 2, Michigan would have been the favorite. Remember the crazy line move in that game?
Nuts.
That's the only upset that they pulled. They were chalk game after game after game.
Yeah, and even chalk against a bad Virginia Tech team, they were only 6 points, and then another team, they were 6, and everyone else, they were double digits. So it was an easy schedule.
Bingo.
A lot of teams were down last year that they played. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it was just things broke right for them. Now, I'm a Kelly believer. I have, in terms of point spread concerns, one of the biggest things that I look for in September, special teams. And this is a team that had elite special teams last year. An elite kicker and an elite punter. They're both gone to graduation. Don't be surprised if the Irish fail to cover a point spread or 2 early in the season.
The missed field goals, blocked punts. Oh.
There's shenanigans every week, especially early in the season. And while we trust Brian Kelly and we trust his special teams, when you lose an elite kicker and elite punter, you feel it. And I expect Notre Dame to feel it.
I think part of, even though people thought Notre Dame didn't achieve what they should have, I mean, you said Kelly's had 10 win seasons, 3 out of the last 4, but you still have some Notre Dame bias. It's like the old Dallas Cowboys, that the lines makers can make that point a line higher, and they know they're going to still get the Notre Dame money. That's part of the reason to that 6-6-1. Now, this year, the schedule is brutal. Not because of the difficulty of the opposing team, but the way the schedule plays out. 7 teams have byes the week before they play Notre Dame.
Oops.
That's by far the most in the country. I think 4 is the next highest.
Good grief.
So they're going
in trouble for that one.
They're going to get into October. They go to Michigan, then they play Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's off a bye. Then they go to Duke. Duke's off a bye. Then they play Navy. Navy's off a bye. Then they play BC. BC's off a bye. And yes, those are all winnable games, but the winnability starts closing the gap when you have a bunch of rested teams, when they're playing Notre Dame and they're excited about them, and it's late in the year and Notre Dame's playing a 6th straight week, and all these teams are fresh week after week after week. That's a situation you have to keep your eye on. And then you look at their schedule. They go to Michigan. Well, Michigan has revenge for that loss last year. Michigan's much better. They go to Stanford. They beat Stanford last year, but they haven't won at Stanford since 2007. So all those easy teams, they host Virginia and Virginia Tech. Those are teams that I make the line about 7. I think the bookmakers will make them closer to 11, 12, or 13. I'm high on both of those Virginia teams. So I think the schedule is much more difficult. And then we talk about, returning starters. Again, Teddy made a good point that returning starters is a number that you have to be leery of. But last year they had 15, and this year they had 13. So they're down a couple. And more importantly, on the offense, you lose your top running back, you lose your top receiver. That's big. But more importantly, on the defensive end, they lose their 4 best defensive players. Tillery was a number 1 draft choice. Tranquill was a number 4 draft choice. You lose your number 1 tackler, and then you lose a number 4 draft choice in Love in the secondary. So you're only losing 4 on the defensive side, but they're your key 4 best players. Makes a big difference.
Teddy, I'll let you have the last word.
I agree with the concept. That being said, the elite programs, they send 5 guys, 8 guys to the NFL every year, and Notre Dame is recruited at that level, and I still think they're going to be a good team. I don't agree with that.
Notre Dame hasn't sent multiple number 1s to the draft in the last few years on the defensive side.
No, but I'm saying on a year in, year out basis, they're sending multiple starters to the NFL, and they did this past year too. But the number 1 way I want to bet Notre Dame to start the season, look, we like Ian Book. We like the 4 starters back on the offensive line, the 60 career starts they bring, a big upgrade over last year. And that defense, there are questions, especially in the back 7. So what are we going to look to do to bet Notre Dame in September? We'll look to bet them over the total.
I knew you were headed to that one. All right, guys, make sure you like and share our videos. Want to share some of your thoughts on a game, give us some feedback, or even suggest a video, leave us a comment below and be eligible to get a free week of service.